Ostensibly, I'm a big fan of rhythm games. Music has always been a big part of my life, from choir to band to general auditory enjoyment. Naturally, this love would extend to games where the focus is music. But when I recount the rhythm games that sing to me, I find myself in a bit of a niche. My most favorite series would have to be Rhythm Heaven. Undoubtedly a rhythm game, but what makes that series unique is its quirk and charm. While the songs are good, the main draw is seeing how these cute situations are affected by the rhythm. The songs are a mechanism in which we get to interact with these environments. My other most favorite series would have to be Taiko Drum Master. Equal to Rhythm Heaven in the charm factor, Taiko does take real, actual songs and adds in interactive rhythmic elements, much in the same way that the DDRs or the Miku Project Divas or the Persona Dancings do, but unlike those juggernauts, great games in their own right. Taiko Drum Master appeals to my own musical past by making me a part of the band. Project Diva has me pressing buttons in rhythm, DDR makes me feel like I'm dancing, sorta, but I'm part of the percussion ensemble when I'm playing Taiko. Playing a real arcade machine was a revolutionary experience. Tapping away on the Switch screen emulates that quite well, and everything is outrageously cute. Side note, the Persona Dancing games aren't juggernauts, they're just also rhythm games I've enjoyed. Side note, I need to get one of those at-home taiko drums, someone buy me one. But that's all in regards to traditional rhythm games. Games where the rhythm is the key element. Over the years, I've also delved into titles where the rhythm is mashed up with another mechanic. A recent favorite is Hi-Fi Rush, a rhythm character action game by Tango Gameworks. You can check out my full review linked in the description, but in short, that game rocks. Adding in the rhythm element allowed me to enjoy a genre I'm usually not good at. Another from a few years prior was the Rhythm Legend of Zelda dungeon crawler Cadence of Hyrule by Brace Yourself Games. And while I never made the time to try out their earlier game Crypt of the NecroDancer, I remember really enjoying the Zelda crossover. See, I am a big fan of rhythm games, but they need to speak to my particular sensibilities. When I saw Brace Yourself Games' latest title, Rift of the NecroDancer, advertised during some showcase, my interest was piqued. This could be another one for me. The trailer made it seem like the game would be pulling from the Guitar Hero / rock band Note Highway style of games, where notes fall from the top of the screen and the player has to tap the right button when it reaches the bottom of their respective columns. Had I ever played one of those types before? No. But the trailer also showed what seemed like more Rhythm Heaven-esque minigames, which sold me on the project. Unbeknownst to me, the studio had a tumultuous time between games. Brace Yourself Games' first title, Crypt of the NecroDancer, released in 2015, and continued receiving support in the shape of new songs as recently as April 2024. Their follow-up, Cadence of Hyrule, released a little bit later in 2019, and they became a game publisher in 2022. Also in 2022, Rift of the NecroDancer was announced, the studio later confirming a 2023 release date. The team did not hit this date. You see, a month after announcing it, Brace Yourself laid off half of its staff. How much this affected the studio, who's to say? As for causation, their studio leaders blamed financial woes and other game delays, but the layoff came with cancelled projects and around 20 people without a job. And even then, the reduced focus on only Rift of the NecroDancer only did so much, as Rift was then delayed 2 more times, finally getting a proper release in February 2025. It was shortly before its release when I stumbled upon a form. Fill this out for a review code. Like heck, I'd get a review code, I thought to myself, but what the hell, no harm in trying. Well, ladies and gentlemen and non-binary folk, Brace Yourself Games sent me a review code, so thank you for that. Full disclosure, this game came to me during an interesting time. I used the game quite extensively to distract myself from the big hole in my apartment bathroom. I recall a distinct moment where I turned on noise cancelling and ratcheted up the volume in an attempt to drown out the jackhammering from the other side of a thin wall. This is all to say I was not in the best of headspaces when I played through. It pains me to say that Rift of the NecroDancer is just okay. The game is split into 2 segments as shown by the trailer. The first of these, the bulk of the game, is the aforementioned note highways. The other being a story mode that includes a small assortment of rhythm heaven-esque minigames and boss sequences. As for the main game, there are a couple dozen songs with already a bunch more purchasable as DLC, some free DLC too. In each, various enemies will spawn at the top of the screen, and in rhythm to the selected song, drop. When they reach the bottom, Cadence needs to attack the column they're in to defeat them. Unlike the more traditional note highway type games, Rift only has 3 lanes for enemies to spawn. This is deceptive. Less rows technically means less buttons to pay attention to, but the game more than makes up for that with the enemy variety. Regular goobers dropped every beat and take 1 press to defeat, but these blue ones take 2 presses in sequence, the golds take 3, but then these guys move every other beat but move 2 tiles at a time, and these guys move diagonally back and forth after each hit. Wait, but this other color moves diagonally the same direction after each hit? Wait, this guy you need to press and hold, and this Scallyman's got a shield that will need to be broken first. That ninja looking guy pauses when he's got a clear line of attack, it flashes down on the next beat, so I have to pay attention to the sound effect. But also this bat is moving diagonally, so it'll hit another row at the same time, and oh crap, I forgot about the slime, so now all 3 lanes have enemies, and only one of them needs to be hit a second time, but the third hit, there's already another guy, and oh jeez, oh gosh, oh man. It is very easy to be quickly overwhelmed, and I like that part. Learning the unique traits of each enemy and doing my best to counter them was a really enjoyable loop. The first of my 2 main complaints is actually pressing the buttons. Maybe I didn't calibrate it right, but I had a very tough time getting perfects. I've tried on both keyboard and PS5 controller, but a good portion of the time, even when I feel like I was nailing it, the game told me I very much was not doing so. And it's tough enough with the regular enemies attacking on beat. I truly cannot wrap my head around the enemies that ask for 8th notes, heaven forbid the ones that go into triplets. Another thing I could never grasp, despite pressing all 3 arrow keys at the same time, for whatever reason Rift required me to actually press down to attack all 3 rows at once. My other major complaint was with the songs. Now don't get me wrong, every song in this game is great. From an auditory, listening experience, I have no complaints. From a gameplay perspective, I think each of them are too long. The gameplay is so hectic and nerve-wracking, and almost every song asks me to keep up this heightened state of awareness for so long, each should probably be about a third shorter. Whenever I'm playing a Taiko or a Miku, I eventually find myself in a bit of a flow state, where I'm jamming through these songs and I have internalized their inherent rhythm. I find familiar riffs that have become the basis of the song that are then taken by the designers and altered to add a challenge. Maybe these 2 8th notes are a triplet now, maybe the buttons I'm pressing have changed, but it's all still the same song, it's all still the same rhythm. Rift of the NecroDancer doesn't have this. In a 3-minute song, the rhythm of said song completely changes at least once, sometimes more. For instance, one song I did recently threw a couple offbeats my way. To me, this means that offbeats will be an integral part of this rhythm chart, in that the song will start out with a couple easy ones, then give me harder and harder offbeats as the song progresses. Instead, it gave me a couple more offbeats a few measures later, then focused on other, different rhythm patterns for the rest of the song. Since I can't expect the earlier types of patterns to be expounded upon later, I can never let myself flow with the song, which leads to playing become mentally taxing much quicker. Instead of putting the rhythm portion of my brain on cruise control while my dexterity keeps track of the exact patterns, for the duration of the song, my entire mind has to be fully active. And as it turns out, 3 to 4 minutes without a break can be exhausting, especially after playing a few songs prior. In free play, each of these songs can be selected, with more getting unlocked after each completion, and in this mode, other options can be toggled, such as playing along with a shopkeeper who will sing each tune, or to only practice it. I had my first playthrough with each in the game's story mode. The story is cute. Having not played Crypt of the NecroDancer, a lot of the references went right over my head, but I picked up enough along the way. Rift is presented as a direct sequel to Crypt, where Cadence and a bunch of the first game's crew get sent through a series of rifts into a more modern alternate dimension. Each chapter is basically the same: do a couple songs, talk with that chapter's returning Crypt character, then defeat a boss. Luckily, in narrative, Cadence picks up on this very early too, so after the first go-around it's never a surprise when the boss reveals themselves. There's no real twists or turns in the story, and everything is wrapped up with a nice bow by the end, but there was more than enough witty banter between characters to keep me entertained. Speaking of characters, Sunny Ren and the rest of the art team did a fantastic job. Every character design is immaculate. I love Cadence's whole vibe. Dove's yoga aesthetic fits her character perfectly. Hef and Merlin made a really cute couple, and everything is rendered in such an appealing art style. This extends across the whole game. The cutscene backgrounds are pleasant, although there's only a baby's handful. The minigames are super cute, and the introduction and closing animated cutscenes are so well done. The story is also where the minigames are interspersed, placed at roughly the midpoint of each chapter. These are adorable. The team at Brace Yourself did a great job at emulating what made the Rhythm Heaven games fun to play. Each mechanic is intuitive in why I'm doing it, but stacking each mechanic on top of one another and quickening the succession at which they're required made for a really enjoyable time. It's just that they only made 5 of them. Doing yoga poses was cute, making burgers was silly, keeping the hot ninja lady focused on meditating was funny, taking photos of the hot guy ripped, but that was it. Each chapter also culminated with yet the third type of rhythm game with the boss fights. The closest comparison to these would be akin to a Project Diva, press the button when the screen tells you to type of game. In this case, Cadence must dodge around the boss's onslaught until she gets an opening to rebuttal. These were good enough closers to each chapter, but were by far the least interesting parts of the game. It seems like the bulk of development was spent polishing the note highway sections, then a good chunk of time was spent developing the few really good minigames. The bosses aren't an afterthought per se, and a couple of them brought in unique elements, but they were definitely the parts I enjoyed the least. Much like the rest of the art though, they all looked fantastic at the very least. After the story ends, all that's left is continuing the main songs, trying different difficulties, going for higher ratings and perfect combos, attempting the shopkeeper challenges and subsequently rage quitting said shopkeeper challenges. But here's the thing, I keep coming back to it, or I keep thinking about it really. Whenever I do hop in, I never stay for long, but the couple songs I run through are a good time. Bashing my head against a song 3-4 times, then finally getting that perfect combo feels good. The elation as all the pressure in my body vents is just as good as any other rhythm game. Wrapping my head around these intricate enemies while jamming out is a solid time. It's just, for me, opening Steam, then launching the game, knowing I'm only going to play for 5 to 10 minutes is a bit of a hurdle. If I had a Steam Deck or received the game on the Switch, I could easily see myself opening the game every few nights and chipping away at it, playing each song until I've mastered them all. In lieu of that, I'll instead just keep thinking about it. Keep it on my active playing list, maybe hop in once a month or so. Plus Hatsune Miku's in it now, so I'm gonna have to get that eventually. Overall, I give Rift of the NecroDancer a Cadence's cute modern outfit out of 10. Seriously, the character designers hit it out of the park. Thank you so much for watching. One of these days I'll play Crypt of the NecroDancer. Probably. Maybe. What are some of your favorite rhythm games? Let me know in the comments or anywhere else on the internet. I'm at Mario8 everywhere. Links to them are in the description, plus any sources I used. But while you're here, maybe leave a rating, and you can subscribe if you'd like to keep track of anything else I put out. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time.